Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Season 2, Episode 9 of Only Murders in the Building. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we kind of get things from Detective Krepp's perspective, and it kind of like, okay, so I was kind of right on the whole moonlighting thing, because I was assuming like he probably didn't make enough money. Turns out that is the case. So he does like moonlight not only at the Coney Island with the security job, but also he kind of puts himself in other positions so that he can like lease himself out to like small towns that need like people to help investigate stuff. And so, obviously, he's a number one suspect, at least as Glitter Guy. Well, not number one suspect. He definitely is Glitter Guy. But Mabel and Charles are like, there's no way he's actually the mastermind behind this. Like, he does, and also for a painting, like, even if it's worth money, like, he doesn't seem like the type of person that would know that that painting that Bunny had was worth something or not. Especially when we find out that the fake painting, well, they found the real painting. It was with, Miss Gambellini. It was hidden there. And it makes you wonder, is that why Bunny gave it to Oliver, hoping that he would look after that painting? Like, she knew it was there, so you can only assume that's the case. I mean, maybe because she knows him, Charles, and Mabel are so tight, so maybe specifically because of the Charles angle of things, maybe that's why she did that. But everyone pretty much split up and kind of was doing their own thing this episode. Mabel, in particular, ended up going to visit Detective Krepp at like a boxing ring, which like that place has like 1.5 stars. It might even been like, no, I think it wasn't even 1.5. I think it was like 1.2 stars. I was like, Jesus, that place got a super low rating. But the fact is that Mabel like kind of tears him a new one, kind of using all like those. She's like, oh yeah, well, I like plenty of boxing movies and I love puns, so I could keep this up all day. And he's like, Mabel, what kind of stupid fucking name is Mabel? And stuff like that. I'm like, I love that he's just so pissed. He's looking for any excuse to try and tear her down because she's so smug. And he's like, oh yeah, like he's punching the bag. And she's like, oh, did you actually throw a real punch? She's like, I just felt a quiet breeze. And he was just upset by that. And he's like, right, you think I'm stupid? Because for her, it's like, I could get it, but it's like, you know, but you're not, you're a stupid man. There's no way you could have come up with something this elaborate. And he was like, right, you think I'm going to slip up and say the wrong thing? He's like, if I'm so stupid, then why did I get like the smartest woman? And when he's like, all is not okay. The moment he said that, that's all I needed to be like, it was Cinda. I was like, well, it makes sense because I mean, you know, murder, what's the whole point? The whole thing is like, right, murderers go back to the scene of the crime. To be fair, we kind of did this before. Jen, like, inserted herself into the investigation of Tim's murder, like, the moment she got close to Charles. So it's like, right, Cinda has had this, like, you know, this has kind of been her thing, and now she's doing Only Murderers in the Building. But it makes you wonder, was that part of the, like, the fact is like, you're potentially the murderer, and you set all this in motion to like not only to keep an eye on the investigation of your crime, but also, I mean, was that even a top priority? The fact is, you're monetizing off of the murder you committed. I mean, it's a wild thing to say, but it's like, well, let's not go down this route. But, you know, it's like, OJ wrote a whole damn book about how he didn't do it, right? So, or if I did it or whatever. It's like, so it's not that out there to be like, oh, someone like, you know, prophetizing off of something like that, you know, and it's like, it seemed wild. It's like, I mean, I guess, why would she put herself in that position? Because she thinks she's so smart, she's so cocky, and the fact is that, she has a cop like Krepp's, like, under her fingernail, like she's got him twisted around her finger, like doing whatever she wants. So I guess when you have a literal cop on your side to kind of swish things over to what you want, I guess that's the thing of like, he has to know that she's the one responsible. He's like actively going out of his way to help her cover up what she. That's why he went after the evidence like that they have, because he's like, oh, like I can't let the lady I love fall in, like if they have any evidence. It's like, it wasn't his fingerprint on the matchbook. It was Cinda's. So, but once again, why would she go after Bunny? Well, we find out, you know, we'll circle back to Charles thing, but we learned from Rose that Cinda was after the painting, which at first I was like, because I kept wondering, I'm like, are we going to find out it's not actually Cinda, it's actually Poppy? That's why I was wondering if there's going to be like a last minute twist like that or not. But it doesn't seem like it. Seemed like no, because of what crept. But it still feels like it could just be like like Cinda's up to some shady stuff, just like Theo and Teddy. But it could be like, yeah, they're up to some shady stuff, but Jim was the actual killer. It could be that where it's like, but we'll get to the Poppy stuff when we get to it, but I'm kind of inclined to believe like that's not just like BS that she's spinning, but we'll see. Either way, now Mabel also, because her and Charles kept being like, why do we recognize that chicken emblem? Why does it like resonate something to it? Listening to the podcast again, she realizes like, right, she never saw it, they heard it. That's why, because that's what they initially bonded over was Cinda's podcast and stuff like that. So, did they ever actually finish that podcast? I mean, they've been so focused on theirs, I don't know if they ever actually finished All Is Not Okay, because they were still in the middle of things, if I remember correctly, when, like, Tim's murder happened, so. But anyway, like I said, kind of piecing everything together. Mabel literally is piecing puzzle pieces together, which I love that being kind of her thing, because for one, it's a thing between her and her father, but also it's been her way of kind of handling things, like after that, what was that, episode 7, that whole thing, like with the puzzle pieces, like her literally putting a puzzle piece together now is very, like, reciprocal in that regard. That Alice is the one who brought it to her. And it's like, it played out what I thought it would be. It's like, okay, I said that Alice wasn't going to be the killer, but most likely what was going to end up being the case is that Alice and Mabel would not work out, and they'd kind of go their separate ways at the end of the season. Seemed like we're kind of heading for that direction. I think Mabel and Alice have one more scene together before they have to say goodbye. Like, either Alice is going to leave and go back to, like, Europe or something like that, but for Mabel, it's like, yeah, she likes Alice, but she can't trust her, and she can't be with someone she can't trust, because for her, she's like, I do want to at least thank you, because now you help me realize I am more than my past and my trauma, that doesn't define all of me. I am so much more than that. There is more to me than that. So it's her finally taking the steps, having, like, episode 7, I think, put her in the right direction to finally move past everything, from her dad's death to all the terrible stuff and all the death and complications that followed her. Zoe, Tim, I think she's able to kind of finally, with the big picture now, being able to see the entire puzzle for what it is. She's finally, like, everything's kind of unlocked. She hasn't buried those memories anymore. I think she's accepting all of it and facing all of it, and now can face the future with her head held high, not looking to the past, being beholden to the past. So, but other than that, we also had Charles looking into trying to talk to Leonora, and they're like, he's like, wait, I got the right address or something. He's like, what do you mean she's never left? I was like, the person you met wasn't Lenora, it was Rose, wasn't it? So it begs the question, it must mean Lenora and Charles' dad never had an affair. It's like, right, it was Rose. And he kind of figured that out. Found her, opened the watch and found the address and called her and brought her over for the real painting. For Charles, it is this thing of, he believed his dad wasn't a good man, and that's something he's wrestled with his entire life until Rose showed him the painting. It's like, right, this was this was for me, and there was a painting underneath that was for him, who he wanted to be. He wanted to be a good father to his son. And it's just sad how things kind of worked out. Like him getting arrested, that was probably because of Rose's husband, because Rose was dealing with an abusive husband, and Charles was trying to get her away from that. So they had to cut ties with each other. She had to disappear. So he lost the woman he loved. And I think just kind of drowning in that, he wasn't, with everything, I think everything just kind of spiraled out of control from there, and he just wasn't able to kind of pull himself back together. So in that moment, he wasn't, like, the best person he could have been. I think before all that, he was a good father to Charles, but he kind of lost himself in his heartbrokenness. And I think that's what sadly set him on the path to be the dad that now Charles kind of stuck remembering. But knowing that was at the heart of his father, knowing like his father wanted to be a good dad, that it's like, right, I mean, people are never are rarely 100% what you see. Like, there are occasions where people are very much who they are, who you think they are, who they present themselves as. But other times, like, people are complex. There are deeper layers. This is an aspect and a side of his dad he never knew about, you know? But once again, the big question being, why did Cinda want that painting? What does this all have to do with all is not okay? Because it turns out Becky, the person that was like missing or potentially murdered during that case, is actually Poppy. So the fact is, you're so close to her, I guess maybe Cinda promised her something like, right, you help sell this for me along with Krebs. You help sell me on this. I'll build you a future. I'll make everything great for you. Or maybe Cinda's completely unaware that Poppy is Becky. Like, she probably changed her name and everything. So maybe Cinda has no idea. Maybe she does. Those are the big $1 million questions of, well, what does that mean? Like, Poppy being Becky, the ins and outs of the case. Like, what did Cinda and Krebs do? Because we saw him taking a hair and kind of planting it. So maybe Becky wanted to run away and basically Cinda reopened all of this. Like, maybe this has something to do with trying to track down Becky, and Poppy's like, oh, Cinda doesn't realize I'm Becky or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't know quite what to 100% make of that. Maybe it's a lot clearer than what I'm kind of thinking it is, but I don't know. Why else would she want that painting? Why would she be so pushy about it? Not unless it proves something related to it. I don't know. Along with all of that, there's the Oliver side of things, where he was like, oh yeah, the fact of the matter is, Will is my son. They're like, oh, congrats. It's like, oh, so you're Greek? He's like, Greek-ish. And I was like, the fact is, he kept pushing that so much. I was like, you were so certain you were Irish. I was like, are we going to find out that maybe your parents aren't who you thought they were? But then later on, when he's like confirming it to Will, and he's pushing it so hard, it's like, you're a Putnam. And he's like, oh, like, honestly, I didn't realize, Dad, how much this was weighing on me, but I'm glad to know it. And then when he attacks Teddy in the elevator, like, he lied to everybody. Because it wasn't just lying to them, it was lying to himself, because he didn't want to accept the fact is, Will is not his. He got the entire story from Roberta. They had sex twice. It was like one time, but it was two times. It was one time, but two sessions. And Teddy never realized that. He didn't know. It's like, yeah, it was just one time, but just like, that's how sex works, Teddy. It just takes one time. It was probably like the 70s and 80s, so you weren't probably as protective as you thought you were. But it's been this big secret all these decades. And at first I thought Teddy would be kind of happy about it, because, like, what did he say to Oliver? He's like, you won't see it coming. I will fuck you. So when later on he's talking to Oliver's like, right, you sent me to jail, I fucked your wife, aren't we kind of even, you know? But it's like, because it's like, right, I'm a terrible, he feels like he wasn't the best dad, obviously, for Will. Him and Will have a better relationship now, but he always felt like he was a worse dad. But Teddy's like, are you kidding me? I'm the one that roped my son into doing some duplicitous stuff, and I covered up his involvement with someone's death. But then Oliver's like, I did get Will into theater, so, and Teddy's like, oh, that's bad, so. But when it's all said and done, Teddy promises not to say anything to Will, but I'm like, no, he's going to. Because he made it clear himself. He's like, I wanted to have a chance he wanted there to be a good relationship between him and Theo, but that's the opportunity's been screwed there. But now a new opportunity has arisen. He has a whole other son he can make things right with. I mean, granted, it doesn't change the fact that Will know that, like, oh, you're this person who's done some, like, terrible stuff. It's not murder, but you're still, like, stealing from dead people, and you're covering up your other son's involvement in someone's death, so there's all of that. But it could also be Teddy's way to be like, I severely believe he's going to tell Will, because it gives him an opportunity, because also it'll destroy Will and Oliver's relationship, because it's like, oh, you had an opportunity to tell Will the truth and you lie, and it's like very selfish of you to do that. So Will's going to want to know his real dad, so Teddy's going to take that opportunity. But even if Will doesn't necessarily want that, Teddy's vengeful. He's like, I can see the line now, him playing out, he being smug as hell. It's like, what did I tell you, Oliver? I told you I was going to fuck you. And it's like, yeah. So he kind of double fucks you, because it's like, right, I not only, like, am the father of your child, I fucked your wife, once, technically twice. It's like I was younger back then, so But also now he's fucking you over in this regard. Once he kind of hits you with the trifecta a little bit. So I feel like that's the direction that's ultimately all going to end up going. So, which is kind of heartbreaking because I thought it was interesting. I was like, are you really going to be sitting there like so like kosher with Teddy considering everything? You both kind of hate each other. But it's like, right, we mutually want to care for Will and don't want to kind of jeopardize everything. We kept this secret this long. To be fair, it was Roberta's secret. Like, Teddy wasn't even aware until now. So you didn't have to worry about him keeping that secret. It's like, easy, once again, like Will even said in that episode, it's easy to keep a secret when you don't even know you're keeping one. So now that's going to be, I think that's going to be like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, Teddy's just going to use this opportunity to screw, because it's like, right, my relationship with my son isn't great. Like, I know how much it means the world to you. You even told me as much, so I know I'm going to really stick it to you, Oliver. Now, if it comes out by accident, I'm going to be super surprised, because I'm like, there's no way he's not going to super do it on purpose to hurt Oliver, but we'll see. I'm hedging all my bets on it, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the next episode takes us. It is the season finale, so piecing it all together, figuring out how this all started, where this is all going, putting all the pieces together. I guess that would probably be like what the whole Krebs and Cinda thing, because they were probably pushing Bunny hard about the painting. And as I said, friend, so I wonder, is it Cinda? Was Cinda who... was Bunny actually close with Cinda? Because maybe Bunny has something to do with all is not okay to some extent. Yeah, once again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, or maybe... I don't know. And I wonder... They didn't really talk about... They talked about it a little bit, but I wonder, is there any part in all this with Rose's husband? Does he have some role in this? Like, we haven't, like, just knowing, like, oh, she was getting away from him, that's why she disappeared. So I wonder, will he come back up in the story in some shape or form? Probably not. I mean, we don't know what his circumstances are. Either way, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the season finale sets up, closes out this chapter and what this means going forward for season 3. We'll ultimately have to wait and see. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.